Well, what do you think? Do these glasses make me look more professorial? How about if I take them off in a dramatic fashion? Does that want you to pay more attention to the story or what I'm going to talk about next? Well, if it does, you've just been exampled by a delayed lead, which is the topic of this week's assignment. Your job is to visit newsu.org, enroll in the Lead Lab course, and take a look around the lab. Feel free to explore all the sections, but pay particular attention to the Refresh Your Lead Basics and also to Discover Lead Types. Once you look at all those areas, be sure to quiz yourself and send me your scores. Let's take a look at some leads. Because you're so sweet, I'm sending you a Valentine. Well, a Valentine's Day story at least. If you look at the story that's on the screen here, you'll see that the story starts with a delayed lead. Switch down to the third paragraph where it starts with Twitter and sweethearts. That would be the summary lead if you're working on an inverted pyramid type story, but you're not. So you're going to start with a different kind of lead, and using I love you, which is a quote often found on those little sweetheart candies that you buy during this time of the year, is a good way to begin the story. Second paragraph gives you a little more information about what's happening, and the third paragraph gives you the time element. This third paragraph is the nut graph. Connecting the nut graph to the first part of the story becomes an important concern as you write delayed lead stories. This story about marriage also starts with a delayed lead. Again, if you look at the second paragraph, it's giving you the nut graph, the reason you're writing the story. And the reason you're writing this story is because the Pew Research Center has just released a new study about the effects of marriage on women and men. Right? But you don't start the story with that information. You start the story with another sort of a provocative statement or something to get people hooked into it. This next story is one of my kind of favorite kind of leads, an anecdotal or emblematic lead. So you're starting with a 69-year-old woman who has some severe pain and is taking medical marijuana. The reason this reporter is writing the story right now is available in the paragraph that starts with, for many patients like Miss DeGidio, I guess that's how you pronounce it, it's getting easier to access marijuana for medical use. The U.S. Department of Justice said it will. All right, so the U.S. Department of Justice has indicated in a release or in a report or something, they're saying that they're not going to go after people who are using medical marijuana. That's the real reason you're writing the story. That's the reason you're looking for people to sort of explain this. Right? But you don't have to start the story with a summary lead saying that the U.S. Department of Justice, blah, blah, blah. You're going to start with a real person, an anecdote, a story, something to hook people into it. If you think back to the qualities of news, one of the main qualities of news is human interest. This story starts with a human interest angle. Your job, when you write your release, you write your next stories, is to use a human interest angle and come up with something that gets people's attention, has a nut graph, and then goes into the rest of the story.